What's going on, Knicks fans? In today's show, we've got a lot to get to, a lot to unpack. 4 big stories that we'll get to. First, we'll talk about Malcolm Brogdon. According to the latest Bleacher Report article, the Knicks are eyeing Malcolm Brogdon in a trade. We'll unpack that, and we'll talk about the latest draft rumors. There's a player in the NBA draft that Tom Thibodeau reportedly likes a lot, and he's already met with and talked about. And then on the tail end, I've seen it a couple places on Twitter, TikTok, all over social media, that the New York Knicks should go and trade for Kyrie Irving. We'll share a trade idea later in the show, and I'll let you know how I feel about that. But first, if you're looking for daily free videos around the latest New York Knicks news and rumors, go down and hit that big red button. Let's talk about Malcolm Brogdon, though. According to the latest Jake Fisher article, who works for Bleacher Report, he reported that the Knicks have been eyeing Brogdon. They checked in at the NBA trade deadline, but now that the offseason is here, we know that a move for a point guard is imminent for the New York Knicks, and Malcolm Brogdon is going to be a backup option for them. It seems like Jalen Brunson is the number one point guard the Knicks want to go get in NBA free agency. The thing is, that's probably going to have to be a sign and trade, which it sounds like the Dallas Mavericks aren't going to help facilitate that go down. So could the Knicks shift to eyeing Brogdon and making a trade happen for them? I've got a trade idea later in the show we'll unpack. But first, let's see what Jake Fisher had to say, because he also reported that his stock is lower when it's coming to trade requests for Brogdon. Fisher said, "The Knicks have also been linked to Brogdon in recent days by league personnel. New York is known to have interest in trading up from the number 11 pick with the perceived target of Purdue combo guard Jaden Ivey. But if New York doesn't jump up the lottery order, league executives don't forecast such a deal and determines it is out of the running for free agent to be Jalen Brunson, Brogdon has been mentioned as one of the several potential backup options for the Knicks to plug their hole at starting point guard. We knew coming into the offseason that the number one need for the Knicks was to get a starting point guard. And that's what Malcolm Brogdon has been in his NBA career, dating back to when he played for the Milwaukee Bucks and then landed with the Indiana Pacers. My only concern is the number of games played. In the last 4 seasons, he hasn't played more than 70 games. 64 games, 54, 56, and 36. So he's had some injuries pop up. He's also only has 1 year left on his deal at about $22 million. But when you strictly talk about the type of basketball player he is and what he brings to the hardwood, I think he would fit perfectly with the New York Knicks. He can average 20 points per game. He can average 7 assists. He shot 43% from the three-point line before. I like everything he does on the court. He's a coach on the court, in my opinion. He just plays the game the right way. He's efficient. He's a winning type of player. And he's a solid defender. And he's still only under 30 years old. So he's still a good basketball player. And he still has some years to play. But what about this trade idea? I think this one's very intriguing because there's a lot of people, myself included, that want to see Julius Randle get traded. I just think he's worn his welcome out in New York. I'm not sure having him on the team is going to let a guy like RJ Barrett or Obi Toppin reach their maximum potential. So what about getting a point guard in return for Julius Randle? A straight up swap. Randle for Brogdon. Sound off in the comment section and let me know. Who do you think wins this trade? Is it the Knicks because they get rid of Randle and they get a player back in Brogdon who's a starting caliber player? Or is it the Indiana Pacers because they get Julius Randle, the former most improved player of the year that was once a second-team All-NBA player? Type NYK for the Knicks or IND for the Indiana Pacers. You make this deal. You make it on Sunday, Monday, Friday, every single day of the week. This is addition by subtraction. This type of deal not only will make the Knicks better and fill the need at a point guard spot, it helps the young guys on this team. It's going to let Obi Toppin be the starting power forward for this team, and we'll finally get to see what Obi Toppin can do as a full-time starter. It also is going to help RJ Barrett reach the maximum potential of the prospect he's supposed to be, just 22 years old. We need to embody RJ Barrett as the face of this franchise. Let him cook. Let him be the player that has the highest usage rating on this team. I'm tired of the ISO Julius Randle on the elbow with the jab step late in the fourth quarter. Let's go back to playing team basketball and getting everyone involved. Because honestly, if you get 2021 and 2022 Julius Randle again next season, it's going to be a nightmare, and I'm not sure New York Knicks fans are going to let him play another 82 games. This past year was one of the worst basketball seasons of his career. The raw numbers look great, right? 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. There's not a lot of players in the NBA that can put those type of numbers up. But when you shoot 41% from the field and 30% from three, that's just undoable, especially on top of all the things that happened off the court this year. It just wasn't the bad play for Randall. It just seemed like he didn't want to be there, like he wasn't engaged. All the bad incidents. Remember, the thumbs down incident when he pretty much told Knicks fans to go F themselves. He got in 2 fights with Rudy Gobert and Cam Johnson. And then 2 possessions later, Cam Johnson hit a 35-foot game-winning bank shot 3 to send the Knicks packing. He also had 12 technical fouls this year, which was a career high. The one that pissed me off the most about all the things on this list was texting and press conferences when being interviewed by the media. He didn't give a damn this year. He didn't come into the season in the same shape he was in the 2020 season. And I think that's a direct correlation of the type of player and the play that Julius Randle put on the court this year. I like Julius. I love what he did for the Knicks back in 2020 when they were the 4th seed in the East and they got to the playoffs, but I don't know if he'll ever get back to being that type of player in the NBA anymore. If you love watching the NBA draft and you're looking to watch it on YouTube, do it with us over here at Chat Sports. Go subscribe. Become one of the 300,000 plus subscribers we have over there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We're going to be live for every single pick of the NBA draft. My guy Chase Sr. and Harrison Graham, they're going to be breaking it down. My guy producer Sam, he'll be there. Maybe I'll pop up on the show to talk about the Knicks, but we will have you covered. Join us next Thursday, or this upcoming Thursday, a week from today, June 23rd. We'll be live for 2 hours before the draft. So join us, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Let's party. Well, since we were just talking about the NBA draft, let's talk about Johnny Davis, a player that the Knicks talked to at the NBA draft combine. And supposedly Tom Thibodeau is a big fan of Johnny Davis. The thing is, he's starting to slip down draft boards. Just a couple of weeks ago, on every draft board you would look at, he would be a top 10 player, and not so much anymore. On Kevin O'Connor's big board over at the Ringer where he works, he has him as the number 12 prospect. On another draft board that I saw today, he was ranked the 29th prospect in this draft. I think he's closer to 12 than 29. I'm honestly a big fan of Johnny Davis, but the concerns about his efficiency on the offensive end, they're noteworthy. I mean, he only shot 42% from the field and 30% from three. But he also had a usage rating of 33%, and he was asked to do everything for Wisconsin on the offensive end. And he did pretty well, averaged 20 points per game, 8.2 rebounds. Not only is he a great offensive player that can take and make the big shots and excel in the mid-range and make shots where defenders are draped all over him, he's a great defender, and he's arguably the top defender, wing defender in this draft. If you go back and watch the tape, this is someone that is sticky on that side of the court. He likes to use all of his energy. He plays with heart. He plays with passion. He fights through screens. He's really good at kind of like a defensive end of dipping and ripping and getting around screens. He's someone that can guard point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards. And he's a really strong player and a strong young man. So he's going to be a great defender in this league for a very long time. But there are some concerns about his game, but let's talk about what he had to say when he was asked at the NBA Draft Combine about talking with the New York Knicks. He said, "It went really well. It was nice to see familiar faces in Tom Thibodeau and somebody who's been a part of this game for a while. It was amazing to talk to him after seeing what he's done with a lot of teams. He's a very recognized coach in the league. I heard from people he likes me, so hopefully I can fit in with them and they'll be invested in me enough to draft me." Johnny Davis is a Tom Thibodeau type of player through and through. He plays with heart. He plays with passion. He leaves everything he has on the court. He's uber competitive, and he's someone that competes on the defensive end night in and night out. And he's also a player that excels in ISO situations on the offensive side of the court. That's what Thibodeau likes. He likes his 3-and-D type of players, but he also likes people that plays with that tenacity on defense and can go on the other side of the court and get a bucket. I don't know if Johnny Davis will ever be efficient enough on the offensive side of the ball to be a consistent starter in the NBA, but I think he could be a super six-man, come off the bench, and give you solid minutes while also being a versatile defender. And Kevin O'Connor, who works for The Ringer and one of the best NBA draft coverage guys out there, said this about Johnny Davis, and we're kind of on the same page. He said, He's a tough shot maker who lives in the mid-range. He has every move in the book, and he uses them to get open despite not having a quick first step or even the tightest handle. With a smaller offensive role and less of a need to force shots, his shooting percentages could increase. He's a good shooter off the catch. When attacking closeouts, he also displays solid at-the-rim finishing as he handles contact inside or finds teammates with simple passes. Players with enormous offensive usage rates like Davis of 33% ordinarily don't put their heart and soul into getting stops on defense. But on top of having a strong frame and long arms, Davis hustles and shows a desire to fight through screens. He brings spirit. And that's what will make you a likable player playing at Madison Square Garden. I feel like if he was picked by the Knicks, he would be a fan favorite of us very, very soon. So to wrap up the Johnny Davis segment, I want to ask you guys a question, and then we'll get to those ludicrous Kyrie Irving trade rumors. Let me know if you think the Knicks should draft Johnny Davis. Type D for draft or P for pass. We teased it at the top of the show, and we didn't lead it with the show because I think it is just... It's dumb. It's stupid. Use all the Stephen A. Smith words you want to use. There is no way the Knicks should trade for Kyrie Irving. We'll show you the trade package that I saw on the internet earlier today, but let's break down the type of player that Irving has been the past couple of years. The number one word that pops into my head is unreliable. He played in 29 games this year, 54 games the year prior, 20 games before that, and 67 games before that. There is no doubt that when Kyrie Irving is on the basketball court, he's one of the most electrifying players in the NBA. He's fun to watch. If I could just go watch a game and watch anybody play, Uncle Drew would be at the top of my list because he has the ball on a string. The way he's able to finish around the rim is some of the most impressive skill that I've ever seen by any point guard in the NBA. But the best ability is availability, and he really hasn't been that. Can you really depend on a guy like Kyrie Irving to be there night in and night out for your franchise? We know he's great. 27 points, 26 points, 27 points, 24 points. What he did in the NBA Finals with LeBron James was incredible. But I have no desire for the New York Knicks to go out and trade for Kyrie Irving. But this is that trade idea that we talked about from NBA Analysis. The Knicks, they would be getting Irving, but they'd be giving up way too much, in my opinion. Emmanuel Quickley, Nerlens Noel, Obi Toppin, Derrick Rose, and the first-round pick this year that's owned by the Knicks. No way am I trading Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin and the number 11 pick for a guy like Kyrie Irving. Those are people that you want to build around. What we saw down the late half of this season, this past season, Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley proved that they can be building blocks for an organization. But I'll leave it up to you, Knicks fans. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kyrie Irving would be great for the Knicks. But let me know what you think. Would you make this trade? Type A for accept or D for decline. To be honest, this is stupid. Kyrie Irving is not going to play with the Knicks. The Nets, unless Kevin Durant goes up into the front office and demands that Kyrie Irving gets traded, that's not going to happen because KD and Kyrie are a package deal at this point. To wrap up the show, let's just keep it honest. F Kyrie Irving. I'm not a fan of his. The way that he turned us down in free agency and then mocked us to the Brooklyn beat reporters. I'm not a fan of him. If you want to join me in the comment section, type F Kyrie Irving. I'll make sure to give you a shout out on the very next New York Knicks Now.